While many proponents credit the system for preventing crashes and making their driving experience better, there have been incidents of abuse.
A man in Minnesota is blaming his car crash on Tesla's autopilot feature.
A Tesla sedan in autopilot mode crashed into a parked police cruiser yesterday in Laguna Beach, California, which is in Orange County.
We think autopilot is misleading for any consumer who might think that autopilot means the car is self-driving.
What they've been told in marketing and media, specifically by Tesla, what's been modeled to them by the founder of Tesla, Elon Musk, has been very different than the reality of what the systems actually do.
My understanding of how most Tesla owners use autopilot for the most part is very engaged, but I definitely think that just like any technology, there will be those people that don't and that probably are looking at their phone and not even looking at the road.
On May 7, 2016, the first known autopilot fatality occurred when the driver of a Model S crashed into a semi-trailer crossing perpendicularly to the highway. The following month, Tesla said it was doubling down on safety features after the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration announced it was investigating the fatal Josh Brown crash involving autopilot. One of the biggest criticisms directed at Tesla is the lack of an effective system to ensure drivers are alert and paying attention.
Ideally, we'd like to see all vehicles with driver monitoring systems. So this uses an infrared camera looking at the driver's eyes and gaze detection to make sure that they're watching.
In Tesla's case, they've elected to forgo any head and eye tracking, any capacitive sensing. They've gone with the most basic bottom line sensing system that exists for this, which is a torque sensor. In the case of Brown or Banner, the individuals who were killed while their Tesla was on autopilot along flat road and they were sort of intercepted by a semi-truck, this is exactly the environment that this DMS is not designed to handle.
In March 2018, an Apple engineer was killed when his Model X drove head-on into a damaged highway crash attenuator.
But what struck me the most about the circumstances of this crash was the lack of system safeguards to prevent foreseeable misuses of technology. But the driver in this case, like too many others like him, was using level 2 automation, as if it were full automation.
A month later, in Japan, a Tesla Model X crashed into a group of pedestrians on the side of a highway after the car in front changed lanes and the Tesla's autopilot system failed to respond. The driver was asleep when the crash occurred, and a lawsuit filed against Tesla targets the absence of a driver monitoring system and lack of safeguards against unforeseen traffic situations. And a similar circumstance resulted in a Tesla crashing into a state trooper and another car in June in Massachusetts. These are just a few examples of accidents involving Tesla Autopilot.
Humans are very bad at the monitoring of monotonous automation systems. And we've seen in our research that the two things drivers really want to do with an autonomous vehicle is go to sleep or use their cell phone.
When the fatal Uber self-driving accident occurred in Tempe in 2018, the company halted all operations of its autonomous driving program. But despite these accidents, Tesla continues to move forward.
Elon Musk likes to say, humans are bad drivers. Yes, this is true. But we're even worse at monitoring something. People get distracted, they get bored, they fall asleep, all kinds of things happen.
One Tesla owner we interviewed thinks the system is very safe, but it falls on the driver to educate themselves on how to properly use it.
The information that you're provided for autopilot, there's a bunch of tutorials. So I think the big thing is if you're a new owner, watch those videos or talk to another owner to make sure you fully understand what you're going to be doing, because your initial experience will be a little bit trippy.
Musk and his fans believe self-driving Teslas can eventually operate as ride-hailing vehicles and moneymakers for their owners.
The whole system, from a hardware standpoint, has been designed to be a robotaxi since basically October 2016. It's sort of like a combination of maybe the Uber and Airbnb model. So if you own the car, you can add or subtract it to the Tesla network, and Tesla would take 25 or 30% of the revenue.
The plan says Tesla owners will be able to add their vehicle to a ride-hailing fleet.
Despite their updates to their hardware and their software, the system is really from the standpoint of the entire rest of the industry, not capable and not ready for that level of automation.
Musk suggested that a Tesla's value would actually increase over time as a result of autonomous capability.
It's unlikely that you're going to see a situation where a used vehicle becomes a lot more valuable unless they limit the supply.
You know, Elon Musk said in 2018 that the Model 3 was the last time he was going to bet the company on something. But he'd already made an almost bigger gamble than Model 3, and that was selling full self-driving to Tesla customers. They are promising a greater level of autonomy than any other autonomous drive technology company on a shorter time frame and with much cheaper hardware.
There has been a long paper trail of Musk promising autonomous milestones and missing them.
Sometimes I'm not on time. But I get it done.
We will offer full self-driving as a subscription service, but it will be probably towards the end of this year.
In 2016, Elon Musk said that by the end of 2018, you'll be able to summon your car across the country. You're in LA, your car's in New York, you press a button, the car will drive itself to you. Obviously that hasn't happened.
Musk has repeatedly said full self-driving would be feature complete by the end of 2019.
While it's going to be tight, it still does appear that we will be at least in early access release of a feature complete full self-driving feature this year.
As of July, full self-driving hasn't been released yet.
We're extremely confident that it will be possible to do a drive from your home to your office most of the time with no interventions by the end of the year.
It's a joke within the community. We call it Elon time. I think whenever he gives a date, we know it's going to be a lot later. But as far as like the things that he's mentioned, that the features that are going to happen, he's been true to his word.
And Tesla has had a difficult time retaining talent on the autopilot team, which likely exacerbates the delays. Even if Tesla delivers feature-complete full self-driving, it's only the beginning of a long road to refine the technology.
It's going to be decades before this happens. It's going to require technological breakthroughs in a number of different fields, not only in vision, but in sensing and in infrastructure to really make all of this work together.
And then there's the issue of regulation. Even though Musk says regulations are limiting the release, there are no limiting regulations in place.
I think that if Tesla is hampered by regulations, it's likely to be outside of the United States. There's a lot of evidence over the last several years that regulations that are mandating certain technologies, especially safety technologies in vehicles, are going to become advice, not prescription. However, I think it's much more likely that regulations in other countries are going to crack down on the name autopilot, on the capabilities, perhaps the requirement for a driver monitoring system or other systems.
The truth is, at the end of the day, there really is no regulation holding back something like Robotaxi 2020. It's a technological problem, and it's requiring work on a different front that's not at all related to regulation. Everybody wants to see, this technology moving forward. If Tesla's the one to do it, that's awesome. But when we have these accidents like Brown and Banner, even the incident with Uber, even like beyond Tesla, like the greater self-driving industry is really dependent on everybody taking a good, robust, safe approach.
Once we are there, I think it's really the time my son turns 18, he probably won't be learning how to drive in a typical gas car. Who knows, maybe he doesn't even need to take a driving test at that point. But I think we're just kind of at the beginning.
CNBC의 영상은 여기까지입니다. 영상을 보는 내내 저는 론 바론과 캐시 우드가 생각이 났습니다. 사실 테슬라가 논란이 있었던 것은 완전 자율주행뿐만이 아닙니다. 완전 자율주행은 여러 가지 이슈 중에 하나였을 뿐입니다. 그 오랜 시간을 테슬라에 투자하면서 저 수많은 논란을 보면서도 테슬라를 꿋꿋이 지켰던 이 두 투자자가 정말 존경스럽다는 생각이 들었습니다. 오늘 영상은 여기까지입니다. 저는 다음에 조금 더 좋은 영상으로 돌아오겠습니다. 감사합니다.